What's up, man? What's going on? I'm gonna hang out for a little bit before I start the live stream. Just I like to wait for people to join. In the meantime, try to enjoy some music, and hopefully you stick around for the live stream. I got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, and I hope you're part of it.
Everything that happens for a reason. You came
All right, guys, we're gonna start. First, before we start the live stream, I want to let people know my internet is acting funny today. So you're probably gonna be getting intermittent uh, disruptions in the live stream. All I can do is ask that you stick with it. I know it's annoying. Um, I don't always get a good solid connection. I use the hotspot off my cell phone on the job, and sometimes it's funny. It doesn't. I don't get a good connection. Like right now, it's showing me a solid connection, but it keeps going up and down in terms of kilobytes per second. So I apologize for that, and I'm letting you know from this point because as we go through the live stream, it's probably going to keep happening. So I apologize for that. I'll do the best I can. If I get cut off at a specific point where I'm talking about something or showing something, please just let me know and I'll repeat myself if I have to. Right now, it looks like the connection is stable at the moment. Let me know. I know it's cutting out for some of you guys. Um, I don't know. Um, just try to stick with it, okay? I want to let me see who's in the room, and I want to say hello to everybody. Um, LSTNSCRFN. I'm sorry, man. That's I can only read the your name tag. Thank you for showing up. Welcome, Bobby87. Welcome, JP Kelly. Bobby 8. Oh, I just said Bobby 87. Project 94. Welcome. Austin Nance. Welcome. Steven Snyder. Welcome. Diehard. Welcome. What if racing? Welcome. Okay, we got a decent group of people. So, um, there are a couple things we're going to talk about today. I know that I promised you guys I would do a track tier list. I can't do it today. There's too many things on my list today, and I don't. I just I'm just hoping to get through this live stream without any major disruptions. Um, so yeah. Anyway, um, so the first thing I did want to touch on uh, before I talk about the race real quick is something I've been talking about for years, right? I've always been trying to wake people up to uh, bad consumer practices, which is to support bad business practices, which is what we normally talk about, which is these game developers, the games that they make. Why are these games so terrible? Why are they pushing microtransactions so much? And whose fault is it really? It's easy to blame the developer, and I do blame them, right? It's their greed that's at the top of everything. However, they can only get away with what we allow them to get away with. If you stop supporting their businesses, right? If you stop handing over your money blindly, it'll go away, I promise. But if they keep getting your money, there's no incentive for them to do a better job as a developer. So that's a message I've been very consistent with. But no matter how clearly you try to explain these things to people, there's always people that are just lemmings. They don't get it. They don't want to get it. They also listen to a lot of people in the community, like Captain Sleeveless, who doesn't seem to have any high priority on looking inwards to the community. He consistently tells people he doesn't blame the community. He only looks at the developer, which is ignoring a huge part of the problem. So I criticize him, I call him out for the things I think he needs to be called out for, but I've never attacked him personally, except for calling him Captain Sleeveless, which is a joke. It's not meant to be serious. It's sort of meant to keep things lighthearted. But there are people in the community who uh, take it personal, and I should have seen this as a red flag. okay, from day one. So let's take a look at one of his lemmings, right? One of the lemmings from the Captain Sleeveless Brigade. And it's a guy here. His name is Douglas Lintz. You guys have seen him in the comment section. He's shown up to my he always has he drops comments in the videos for the videos, and he's shown up to the live streams. Now, I think I've been more than fair to people in the community. I don't always we don't always agree on things, and that's fine. I've always been open to criticism. But if you're going to criticize me, you have to bring something more to the table than just some juvenile mindset. Like, uh, this was a red flag from day one. The first thing that this guy started, complaining about when I noticed him was he was complaining about me calling people names like Captain Sleeveless. And that was a big thing for him. So that should have been a red flag for me. But because I'm so fucking open and trying to be fair to people and just like, you know what? I'm a firm believer in free speech. I don't want to censor people. I've never blocked anybody. But that was a red flag. But everything this guy says is pretty fucking dumb. I honestly thought it was a kid in the beginning, but he told me no, he's a middle-aged man in his mid-30s. But his commentary is very juvenile, and I'm being nice about it. But in one of my last live streams, right, I was playing Max Payne 3. I was doing a live stream, and we were talking about game development. And this guy shows up, and he starts once again pushing for EA, that EA making predictions, bold predictions. EA is going to be the one making the next NASCAR game, which nobody knows. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I've always been of the mindset that if you're just giving me a choice, who do I want? The last people I want is EA. I've explained why. I'm not going to go through all that again. EA is universally known as one of the worst game developers today, and if you look back at their history dating back at least 15 years, they are hated by most communities because they are greedy. They are all about microtransactions, right? So you try to explain this to people, and you have people like this that I've been fucking arguing with for almost 11 years now, going all the way back to Eutechnics, right? This isn't just one guy, but I'm highlighting this to show you what a lemming is. Okay? So in that live stream, he started going back and forth and all that. So I told people that in a previous video, he had posted in the comment section a whole thing about how um, the Unity engine is to blame for everything. In other words, word for word, you can tell this guy gets his fucking his mentality from Captain Sleeveless. If you look at Captain Sleeveless and his history, right? I'll be the first to say maybe he has addressed some of these things and I missed it, right? So I don't know. But from what I've seen, I never seen him once really complain about the lack of stats, right? I'm going all the way back. Um, you know, doesn't say a lot about the AI. I with NASCAR Ignition, he did have. I mean, he had no choice, right? It's so blatant. But his main criticisms of NASCAR games, going way back, has always been one, the Unity engine. He blames everything on the Unity engine, and two, his he seems to have as a priority at the top physics, right? I get it. Physics are important. I've never said they weren't. But as I've pointed out for years, for me, there are other issues that have dragged games down. And it's for me, the physics, yes, they're up there, but they're not that high in priority compared to AI. The AI, if the AI sucks, the game sucks. I don't care how good the fucking physics are, right? So that's one of the things I've talked about. And we just saw proof, right? All these guys that scream and cry about the Unity game engine, and I try to tell people the game engine is, yes, the Unreal Engine is a superior engine, right? I've never said it wasn't. But does a NASCAR game need an engine that sophisticated? And if you look at it, we just saw that I was proven right. I said, you can have the best game engine. If the people working on it don't know what they're doing, it's not going to matter. And vice versa. You can have an engine that is maybe not that highly regarded, but if people know what they're doing and they actually try to implement certain things, you can do a lot with it. So here we had the best game engine, right? Unreal. That's what everyone wanted. And what did we get? We ended up getting the worst game ever. At no point did I say the reason this game sucks is because of the Unreal Engine, because I know better. The blame is on the developer, the people working on the game, the vision coming from the top. Whoever directs the game, in other words, tells these developers what they want in the game, these are the people to blame. The game engine is just a canvas to create the game on that comes with a set of tools. It's like a carpenter blaming his tools for doing a shitty job on your kitchen. So, when it comes to video games and the gaming community, it's when you see people's stupidity really exposed to the world. And the reason I criticize people like Captain Sleeveless is because he has a huge platform and all these people watch and listen. So when he tells them things like, oh, it's all, blaming the Unity engine, all of these people believe it. Then when he screams about physics, then people think, well, that's really all that matters. When the AI, if the AI sucks, who cares how good the physics are? People don't, they're not looking for iRacing on console. Some people are, but you don't have to have fucking real life physics. You can have something that's good, right? Slightly arcadey, somewhat simcade, but as long as you can enjoy it, and if the AI is good, you're going to have a good time. That's what we got with NASCAR Heat 4. That was the best gameplay we've had in a NASCAR game in 15 years, going all the way back to the Thunder Series. So, why was that enjoyable? Well, it was because of the AI. The physics weren't all that great, but they were good enough. And the things that held that series back is the lack of presentation, which we'll talk about shortly, okay? But these are the things I've talked about, and then so you get this guy, this Douglas Lynch. He's just one guy. It's not all about him, but these are the lemmings that go around and they think it's okay for a company, a developer like EA to force feed microtransactions on everyone. And this is what he literally posted right now. I highlighted it and pinned it to the top of a comment section in the last video I made. Okay, not the last live stream, the last actual video. And I told people in the last live stream that I pinned this guy's comments to go read it so they can see for themselves the stupidity of some people in the community. And the comments that I highlighted literally had this douchebag saying things like defending microtransactions and defending developers like EA by saying they need the money. This is literally what this fucking lemming clown posted in my comment section. So I highlighted it. I pinned it so everyone can see it right away. So as I was in the live stream and he was in the live stream and I told people to go check it out, this coward, because that's what cowards do, right? This is his comments. I didn't make it up. He posted all these stupid comments. He ran and he deleted all of his comments that I had pinned because he's a coward and he didn't want people to run and go see the stupidity that he posted. So I called him out and I said, this guy fucking deleted his comments, whatever. So he goes in my last live stream, and as you could see right here, he wrote, "Your channel has been reported. I hope YouTube takes your channel down." So that's what we're dealing with. So for being fair, for giving people the voice they want, right? Because this is, I believe in freedom of speech, even though I have the right to block anybody. I don't want to do that because it goes against everything I believe in. I don't have to, you don't have to agree with everything I say. I'm not even looking for that. If I say something that you truly disagree with, all I'm asking for is that if you're going to criticize me, make sure that you do it in a concise way where you can literally like show me where I'm wrong. And if I honestly see that I'm wrong, I don't have a problem saying, "Okay, I was wrong about that. Thank you for showing that to me." Or "Thank you for getting me to think differently." I've always said from the beginning, I don't want people to just come in here and have a group think mentality. That's not what this is about. I'm trying to open people up to understanding that we as a community are partly responsible for the garbage that we are being sold. Rockstar is about to release Red Dead Redemption, the original game, on Nintendo Switch and on PS4, which is also going to be on, you can play it on PS5, but it's not a remaster. It's a port, meaning they're just taking a 13-year-old game and porting it to other platforms. So, as great, one of the greatest games ever, but it's still a 13-year-old game. They did nothing new to it, and they're charging $50 for it. And as much as I love Rockstar and I love their products, I have to call them out. But lemmings like Douglas Lintz will look at that and say, "But they have to make money." And he's not a good guy. He's a fucking dumbass because he's spreading ignorance when I'm trying to school people. He is infecting the people I'm speaking to with stupidity. Okay? So when people like Captain Sleeveless post on Twitter begging EA to make a game saying, "I don't care if they put microtransactions in, I'm desperate for a game," that's not okay to me. That a guy like that with a big platform who's been doing this for years hasn't fucking learned by now. This is why I criticize him. And if you want to fucking get mad at me for that, then go ahead. Be a fucking lemming. I'm not wrong about what I'm saying. And then guys like this come and tell me how to fucking speak to people on my fucking platform. Fuck this guy. He's a 35-year-old man. He's not a child. So, echo chamber, I'm saying that sometimes people have a platform and they want everybody who joins in or is part of their, support group to just agree with everything they say. I'm not looking for that. So I just try to make that clear. Um, you don't have to agree with me. I'm open to criticism, but I'm not open to stupidity. I'm not open to people that are just spreading garbage like um, I'm okay with microtransactions because these developers have to make money. How about just creating a better game to make money? Is that too much to ask? Or is that too much for you as a consumer to expect? This guy, this Douglas Lintz guy, I promise you, when he walks on the lot of a used car lot, all of the salesmen they fight each other to get to go and get him because he walks on the lot with a hook in his mouth ready. He's okay. And they will fight each other because they know that they're going to be able to dump the worst car on the lot on this sucker, and they're going to get him to pay for fucking undercoating and every scam in cars in the car salesman handbook. They're going to fucking they're going to get this guy, and he's going to walk out off the lot with a smile on his face knowing he just got ripped off. He is a car salesman's wet dream. So, just wanted you guys to see if my channel gets taken down and you wonder what happened. This is why. Now, I don't know what he's going to report. That I guess I hurt his feelings with reality. I've told him repeatedly, if you don't like it here, go back to Captain Sleeveless channel, go wherever. You don't have to be here if you hate it that much. But I'm showing you this because I know at some point he's going to run and fucking delete it, just like he deleted his other stupidity because he's a coward. Enough of that. Just wanted you guys to get a heads up in case my channel gets taken down. You know why. Let me read a few comments. Well, it's a lot of fucking comments now. I don't know. Hold on. I don't. Um, I'll try to get back to everything else. Anyway, look. Um, the race itself. Uh, I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. Am I ready to sign up for more Indy road courses? No, I still hate that track. I still think it's one of the worst racetracks. Um, I want them to go back to the oval on the Brickyard, give it a try. Just show. Let's see how these cars actually race on that track. And if it doesn't put on a good enough show, then go somewhere else. But I fucking hate the Indy road course. So I'm ready to go away from that. However, that being said, I have to say this race was actually pretty good. Okay? I'm not going to say it was great, but it was good. Um, and why was it good? Simple. The lack of cautions. No stage cautions. And there was one caution early. And also, NASCAR did something that they learned from the Chicago Street Course. Uh, they started the race and they had to restart in the last turn. They didn't do it on the long front stretch, and that really helped sort of give the cars enough space so that when they hit turn one, it wasn't going to be that funnel of death. That being said, Joey Logano is still a fucking wrecking ball. He still fucking almost caused the wreck. And then he ended up causing the only caution in the race was caused by Joey Logano. Also, Ricky Stenhouse was a wrecking ball as well. Um, so, the lack of cautions, just watching these guys race an entire race like that um, was good. And also the people that everyone earned their position where they finished. You didn't have like a late restart with a bunch of wrecks where people that were running like mid pack ended up in the top 10. You know, that's really not good for the sport. You want the people that earned their positions to at least finish in those positions if you can help it. So it was great. Um, I was a little, I was disappointed that Suarez, who had an opportunity to win, they had a bad pit stop. But that being said, it didn't take away from the race. We saw really good racing. There were people side by side, and it was clean. Um, I give the race a 7 out of 10. Um, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. I cannot walk away saying it was a shit show. And like I said, it was a lack of cautions and NASCAR starting or having the restart zone in the last corner. They have to do that for uh, every track, every road course. So NASCAR deserves credit for doing that. I know Nat, we all kill NASCAR for doing a lot of dumb shit. This is one of their better decisions. So, um, yeah. So those are pretty much my thoughts on the race. I don't want to spend too much time on it because there is something I wanted to get to, and it concerns game development. Okay, I'll read a few comments before I get into it. Let's see. I'm not gonna read every comment. I'm just gonna. All right. Austin says, I'm happy for McDowell, but I feel for Suarez. Yeah, man. You and I both. Uh, let's see. JP Kelly says, there's something really off with this guy. Yeah, the guy I was talking about. What if says he's going to report you for what? Whatever, man. Um, I bet he's watching the live stream, but he's not commenting because he's a fucking coward. But he's watching. He's a fucking lemming. I know he's watching. He's probably running back and reporting to his captain. Uh, Also, if you guys can, do me a favor, let me know how the live stream's going. I know it was cutting off earlier. It seems to be running a little bit smoother for now. Just give me a heads up. Uh, Steven Snyder says iRacing is the best in town. uh, I think Sleeveless is just desperate for a new game. I can relate to it, but the community comes first, even before me. Yeah, listen, I get it, man. I feel for these content creators that want something to showcase. I'm with you, man. But you you just can't tell people that listen, right? It's okay to do and when listen, I want to make something clear about microtransactions. I'm not talking about DLC paint schemes. That shit bothers me, but it's not a deal breaker for me. Like, I get it. This is a thing. If they can make a couple of bucks off of something that doesn't affect the game, right? Like, if you don't get the paint scheme, it's not going to make your game any better or worse. That's one thing. I think it's a fucking waste of money, but that's fine. I can live with that. That's as far as I'm willing to go. It's companies like EA that make the games, and Rockstar, by the way, who's been doing this with GTA Online, making the games worse for people that don't spend the extra money. So when they add all kinds of expensive, crazy garbage that makes certain players have a lot more power over other players, that is a way to get people to sort of force them into saying, if I don't get these items that are stupid expensive, I'm not gonna enjoy the online because I'm getting destroyed by a bunch of fucking idiots. So they purposely designed the game where if you don't spend the extra, you're not gonna have the same experience. You're gonna have a worse experience. That is atrocious. That's what I'm against. EA, and if it hasn't happened yet, don't worry. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you think that the Formula One series is going to continue to be great as time goes on, you are a fool. You haven't been paying attention to EA. They are one of the worst developers, uh, have the worst reputation amongst the gaming community. And then I bring up things like Madden football, and then idiots like this Douglas Lentz, their response to me is, I don't care about football. Like like that is in a vacuum. Like, oh, they only fuck up Madden football. They're not going to screw up everything else they touch. That is a narrow-minded view, okay? If I don't care about Madden football, I still care about their business practices. I still care that if they treat that franchise, and we're talking about one of the biggest licenses in the world, which is the NFL license, if they shit all over that, what do you think they're going to do to a NASCAR license? And it feels like I'm talking to children because they don't get it. They say, I don't care about football. And those are some of the other comments that he posted that he deleted. So there's that. Let's see. Mark Forget says, please somebody think about the millionaires. Yeah, that's how some of these lemmings think. Telling me, oh, you know, microtransactions are there because how do you, they have to make money. Forgetting that you're already paying 50, $60 for a game that is already lacking. Fucking dumbass. Those people fucking just eat me up, man. Steven Snyder, video games are a dying industry. They're just trying to make as much money as they can before it falls, like Blockbuster. Uh, I don't know if they're if they're anywhere near, like, the gaming business is huge. It's not going to go away. It's changing. If you want to make that argument, I agree. Arla Kani, welcome. Douglas watches every live stream. He's super dedicated to a channel he hates. Yeah, he's watching right now, but he's got no fucking balls. So he's going to stay quiet. He's probably going to kick his dog. He's probably going to beat his boyfriend. 1200 HP next gen. Doug seems like a good guy. He just wasn't ready for this echo chamber. If you think this is an echo chamber, I don't know what to tell you. People disagree with me here. I mean, and how many times do you want me to tell people I'm okay with criticism? But is it too much to ask for that you make a little sense when you criticize? You're going to tell me it makes sense for somebody who says, um, doesn't matter what's going on with Madden football? That shouldn't be a way to judge EA. That microtransactions are okay because, these developers need to make money. That's an argument. If you think this is an echo chamber, I don't know what to tell you. I've been consistent. All right, so let's move forward a little bit. Lazy developers and bad free games, messed up gaming. Yeah, I agree. That's from 1200 HP next gen. Yeah, they're lazy. And this is my point. If you blindly buy each game and you pre-order and you don't give it a couple days to see if it's actually a good product, right? Then you're supporting these guys that are being lazy. How do you expect them to stop being lazy if they keep getting your money? If you withhold your money and they see that, oh shit, our stock's dropping, deliver a better product if we want people's money. That's how it works. So it seems like you kind of understand it. All right, so, all right, let me move forward a little bit. MSG released that DLC and bounced. Yeah. Tatternator 2, welcome. Hot Dog, welcome. We got some new people in the live stream. All right, so let me move forward. So, World of Outlaws is so bad, it's laughable. Don't have to work the wheel at all, just made for kids. I don't know. I haven't played the game. I mean, if it's like that, then they got to do a better job. I don't know what to tell you. Uh, Hold on a second. Dennis Bowen, welcome. Sorry for being late. I'm 15 minutes behind, but these lemmings are pathetic. Hey, better late than never. These fans really wanted a wreckfest. I don't understand. Oh yeah, for the indie race. I don't know. 1200 HP says World of Outlaws. You just hold the wheel straight. It's absolute garbage. iRacing is awesome. You actually have to drive the car and work the wheel. Um, yeah, I haven't played World of Outlaws. I don't know what to say. From what I've seen from other people, it's mostly positive. I've seen a couple negative comments. I can't say a lot about something I haven't played. I don't care about dirt racing. That's why I never got it. JP Kelly stream is steady now. Thank you. If every once in a while, let me know how the stream is doing. Hopefully it stays steady. Let's see. What if says he did say he had full faith in it. That statement is extra nuts. Yeah, that's the kind of shit that pisses me off. It's like, how do you tell of your community on a huge platform that you have full faith? It, it, I'm not going to relitigate this shit. It's crazy. All right. Volts, welcome. Oh, look who's here. Look who's here. Mr. Douglas. I'm not gay. You better start watching what you say. I'm done with this channel. But you're a coward. You've deleted comments showing your stupidity. And then you actively try to get my channel taken down for what? For hurting your feelings. You're too sensitive for this channel. So let's see. Here's an option. No, it's not giving me the option. Okay, hold on a second. You know what? I'm not going to read your stupid comments, but feel free to keep commenting. You're a fucking lemming. You're a chump. You're a fucking a bootlicker to these developers, defending them for microtransactions, trying to defend them by saying they need to make money, which justifies the microtransactions. You're a fucking dumbass. And if you don't like my fucking channel, stay out. But I knew you were there the whole time because I can read you like a fucking book. You're too dumb. You should go play around with somebody who's not smart enough to know what you're doing. You're a man-child. I told you guys he was here. He couldn't, and I knew how to bait him. I got him in here. He's crying right now. I hope you're not kicking your dog or something, or anything like that. I hope not. So you got exposed. All right. So we're going to move on to something else. Now, one of my other subs here, we're going to go to his channel, okay? And I want to thank him ahead of time. He did something that is really cool. He did a video talking about presentation, right? It's called How to Improve NASCAR Video Games. It's a little bit lengthy. We're going to watch it, okay? And
welcome back to Project 94 for another die-cast.
Hold on. We're going to get started. Hold on, one more thing. Do me a favor, guys. Don't get into back and forth with this guy, with Douglas Lentz. He's looking for attention. He's fucking mentally disabled or something. Don't give him attention. So, just let him fucking, you can laugh at his comments and stuff, but let's focus on this over here, okay? So I'm actually going to be playing a video. Hopefully this doesn't, Project 94. He made this video. It's really cool. I'm going to ask you guys also, on your own time, go to his channel and watch the video there, because I'm not sure this is all going to play well. It's already looking a bit blurry, and my internet is, hopefully going to be good enough, and the sound quality isn't going to be there. So here we go. This is about presentation, something I've talked about for years, and he did an amazing job also talking about this stuff. I'm not going to interject too much because he actually did an amazing job, and it almost felt like it was my talking points, which is great because he gets it. So let's watch.
Calling all NASCAR gamers. Welcome back to Project 94. Today, I'm going to introduce a new video series to the channel, How to Improve NASCAR Video Games. This is a series largely inspired by others in the community such as Disco Inferno 70 and many others who have been pushing for better products for the NASCAR gaming community. Although NASCAR is suffering in many areas in the merchandising realm, video games are the most popular way to engage people with a sport or any other subject matter imaginable. That is why this video series is being filmed. Chapter 1, Presentation. Welcome to episode 1 of How to Improve NASCAR Video Games. Today's topic is going to be presentation. Presentation is one of the most important factors to talk about, especially with sports titles. It's what keeps the players engaged with the story. You want players to feel immersed in the experience, as if they are living in another world, and all the decisions made in that world matter to their characters. We are going to discuss all that entails with presentation in today's episode, so make sure you stay tuned and comment, like, and subscribe. Let the battle begin. Daytona USA 2 versus NASCAR 21 Ignition. In this episode, we are going to be comparing video games from the past 25 years that are going to help us have this discussion. There's going to be 2 games. The first game is Daytona USA 2 from 1998.
I'm sorry to pause real quick. This feels like I don't know, like one of these classes you're forced to take, like at your job or something, in a good way, right? But it does feel like that. I'm not. You could correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe Project 94 is still in high school, if I remember correctly. This is amazing, and this really makes me feel good that people that have been listening to me and they understand what I'm saying, and he really gets it. I don't know how long he's been watching me, but literally it feels like talking, like if I did a video like this, it's almost word for word what I would say, right? So I want to give him credit for this.
An arcade racing title produced by Sega as the follow-up to the successful Daytona USA 1. You may be asking, why are we using an arcade title for the comparison? But there are plenty of examples of presentation that make it worthy of adding to the discussion. No one really talks about it as much as the other games, which is kind of unfortunate. The second game is NASCAR 21 Ignition, an official NASCAR video game title released by Motorsports Games, simulating the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season. A game that is lacking a few things in the presentation department, although the game does feature pre-race presentation. Now, with our 2 competitors in the ring, it's time to bring on the discussion. Who provides a better presentation between these 2 titles? Let's find out. Daytona USA 2 is an arcade title. However, there are some fabulous presentation features during its multiplayer live cam captures. From the pre-race and post-race commentary to the interviews with the drivers and crew chiefs mid-race. It's not perfect, but it highlights some of the ideas talked about by NASCAR YouTubers, even though the game isn't talked about that much by the NASCAR video game community. Most people talk about titles and games such as NASCAR Thunder 2004 and similar titles. For not being licensed by NASCAR, this is good stuff. Check it out.
Okay, before we start, I want to point out a few things. As far as I know, this is actually from an arcade game. And when I say arcade game, I'm talking about literal. Some of you guys might be too young, but most of you guys probably remember when you had to put money in the machine, like at an actual arcade. I believe it originally was from an arcade, and then later, I think Sega Dreamcast and a couple of other platforms, they did port it to like a console. But a lot of this footage is like, I believe, from like a replay. So like after the race or during, I'm not sure how it would work during the race, but I'm going to let it play out. Just giving you guys some background. This is a 25-year-old game. So obviously graphics and all that, it's going to be a little bit funny looking, but in terms of technology, this was a lifetime ago. So keep that in mind.
Waiting for the other players.
It's a real shame that in a lot of these live cam recordings that people have done. The music is loud. So you're really not going to hear the commentator's voice very well. But keep in mind that there actually is commentary happening. If you're actually hearing the commentators, they've actually given us some pre-race presentation. And you're actually going to see presentation throughout this entire live cam right here. This live cam is only available for when there's multiplayer and you have a second monitor set up. However, there are a lot of things you can break apart and show people, and it adds so much to the conversation with presentation. As we saw there, we had the pre-race, but that's not going to be the only time you see presentation in this broadcast. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I'm just going to be highlighting very particular parts of the presentation that are really important to have in this discussion. I do want to bring this up, though. Once again, Daytona USA 2 is not a licensed NASCAR product. So what you're seeing here is a fictional racetrack created by Sega, as well as the rest of the tracks in this game, which we're going to be talking about in other videos. The little broadcast, it's not Fox Sports and not ESPN, it's not NBC. They made up their own broadcast. Everything is created by them. It's all fantasy. They didn't have to waste time running after these companies and corporations to get the license. They just created stuff of their own, and they got it done. We're going to be talking more about this NASCAR licensing stuff in the second chapter. But in this chapter, we're just going to focus purely on the presentation aspects. But that right there is what you can see, the fictional racetrack with the commentary. I'll play it once more.
Now, before we go forward, again, I've talked about this multiple times. Look, I want a license just like anyone. I want a NASCAR game. But if I'm a developer that wants to do a NASCAR game and there's no way I'm going to get the license, this is what I'm talking about. You don't have to, like, you can create something great that drives great, that gives you good racing with good AI and great presentation, and it's all based on fantasy. And if you don't have the license, so what? If it's good enough, right? If you do a good enough job, you're telling me people wouldn't flock to it? Of course they would. Right as we speak, there are 2 other developers making football games. Not NFL licensed, right? Complete fantasy based. Because they know there is an audience out there who are dying for a good football game, and they're not getting it from EA. There's a lane there. And this is what's important. This is all fantasy. And yeah, this is 25 years ago, but there are things in there that would totally work in a NASCAR game or a stock car fantasy based racing game that have been missing forever in NASCAR games. And I've talked about presentation through the years multiple times, how important it is, and the fact that it's completely missing from these games. And this is one of the big reasons why these games fail. And so we're going to watch. And also, as he pointed out, keep in mind the game itself constantly has music in the background. Unfortunately, and it adds to that real arcadiness of it. So it's very difficult to hear the commentary and all the presentation stuff because the music never stops. So keep that in mind. It's a shame there's no way to shut it, but it is there. Keep that in mind. So let's watch.
Waiting for the other players.
See, there's an announcer, and he's doing an announcement at the track, like, but you can barely hear him because you got that arcade music playing. So obviously, you don't want that during a game.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
You're going to be watching this part. You're going to be wanting to watch this part. There are a lot of great presentation details. And keep in mind, this is an arcade title from 1998. And you guys are about to see how much presentation is oozing from this content. So let's take a look at it.
They've been given the green flag. The race has begun.
How cool is that? So not only do you hear your crew chief, but you also hear the commentators. They're heading into the final turn. We're about to go green. It says something like that, but it's pre-race. Right before the race, you already hear the commentary. That is awesome. It's really realistic, just like in the real world, stock car racing. It's really good presentation. It really gets you hyped up for the green flag, which is really important. You want the players to be engaged with the experience, and this is a good way of doing that. Let's take a look at that once more before we start getting into the timestamps.
They've been given the green flag. The race has begun. Let's check the current position. Car number 7 is at the top. We try to get car number G Cruz. What a distraction for today's race.
We'll just push and push. Just wait and see. I hope the results turn out to satisfy the sponsor.
That right there is your crew chief that they're interviewing, by the way.
The graphics do look funny, but again, this is early caveman days, technology. But it's cool. Like he's there, he's talking, and look at this guy. Sega Sports. Like, this is not a real thing. But it doesn't matter. Because the point is that there is a guy with a mic, like, down by the pit area. And he's talking. Like, these are the type of things, look at it, interview, that you want in a game. Pre-race, post-race, right? Obviously, in the middle of a race, this isn't going to happen because you're in the game. But after the game, how about in a replay, the whole replay of the race, it's done. I've talked about this in a like a television style presentation, like you're watching it on TV.
Let's check the current position. Car number 7 is at the top. And second is car number...
He's talking about the incident on the track and they're showing the replay. You're telling me that you can't do this in a game in today's day and age? What's the excuse that we haven't had anything like this in the past 15 years? It's the developers that are being lazy. It's not because it's the Unity engine. What game engine is this from 25 years ago? You're gonna tell me it's the Unity engine, you can't have presentation like this? This is how stupid people are. It's not the game engine. I don't even know what game engine this is.
It goes down the field. It doesn't go down the entire field telling you where everyone is at, right? But you can hear the commentators. They're at least going down the top 5, top 10. They're letting you guys know where everyone else is in the field and announcing the car number.
Again, I want to give a shout out. He's explaining it the way I would. Like, he gets it. I'm curious to know how long you've been watching my channel. I'm just curious because it does sound to me like we're on the same fucking page. I love that. Not in an echo chamber kind of way, but somebody gets it.
Look at them race side by side. Let's check the current position. Car number 7.
The music's terrible. It isn't, I mean, that's how all these arcade games are. They all had a fucking soundtrack nonstop. So, but still, I want to hear the fucking announcers, and it's a shame.
At the top. And in second is car number 82. And in Third is car number 80. The other positions are as follows.
He's going through the lineup, but the fucking stupid music's playing. So, but man,
Let's check the current position. Car number 83 is at the top. And second is car number 7. Third is car number 80. The other positions are as follows. Let's check the current position. Car number 82 is at the top. And second is car number 7. Third is
oh my God, there's an in-car camera. I mean, it's not the best looking, but shit, it's there.
car number 78. The other positions are as follows.
I know you can't hear the commentary as good. Unfortunately, I cannot control the music that's in the background. It just comes like that in the game. But this is awesome presentation. Can you imagine a modern NASCAR game where during the race...
I can.
Or maybe let's say they can't really do a live cam. This would be cool to have on the online. Right? Like while the online race is happening, have a commentator on there going down the lineup during the race. Have some of these elements of presentation that you saw. The interviews with the crew chiefs. You know, the drivers.
Even if, look, pre-race, post-race, and you can, there's no reason you can't have this stuff. This is why I tell you, people are focused on the wrong things. The game, the Unity engine has, and look, it might sound like I'm defending the Unity engine. The Unreal Engine is a better game engine. I've never said it wasn't. What I've said was the argument that the reason we're getting crappy games is because of the Unity engine is a fallacy. It's not anywhere near true. It's the developers. Why weren't there fucking stats in these games for years? Forget about the Unity, going back to Utechnics, whatever game engine they were, they didn't have stats either. So what's the excuse for that? These excuses are stupid. The reason we don't get these things is because the developer just didn't want to do it or didn't care to do it. They're busy parceling out paint schemes for DLC instead of adding shit like this.
This is good stuff right here. I don't see a lot of people talking about this live cam from Daytona USA 2, but I think it would be great to have during replays and on the online, during races. And then you can like save the video. Like if you choose to save the video of the race, where you can download it and keep it in your files or whatever, where you could save replays. By the way, that's another suggestion. You should be able to save replays and have these elements of presentation in there. It just adds that much more.
If you've been watching my channel, I've talked about this. That the replay, you can have it in a television style presentation. It's
more to it. This is so cool to see. They have different camera angles that you could also view the race from. But the way this camera is, it's pretty good. For the most part, it does focus a lot on you, the player, but it doesn't completely ignore the rest of the field. You're seeing the action throughout the racetrack. They even call it out, oh, these two racers are side by side. It's so awesome.
And I've talked about this. Pre-race, post-race. Remember how I said that you can have the announcers talk about you, if not by name, just by number, by your car number. And they could talk about where you finished in the previous race, where you are in the point standings, and talk about other drivers in the field. And then post-race, after the race, they could say, oh, now he's in the point standings. And next week they're going to this track. And he's going to have to do this if he wants. You know, there's so much you can do.
This would be great presentation to have. And like I said, you could pause this video anytime you want and discuss it. If this ends up on the Disco Inferno live stream, he can pause it at any point and talk about this stuff. that we're seeing here, so we can get everyone's opinion on this.
And you did a great job. There's not a lot I can add to it. I'm just kind of highlighting stuff. You did a great job pointing this stuff out. It's like I couldn't have done a better job.
Stuff because I feel like everyone would enjoy this. This is good presentation. And I'll even put the link to this video because there's a couple of timestamps in here of certain parts of the presentation that you can go back and check out. That would be pretty cool if you guys can do that.
Let's check the current position of the car. And in second is car number 7.
Dang, he pulled a Denny Hamlin there. You saw that? Or a Kyle Larson, let's be honest.
Third is car number 78. The other positions are as follows.
Yeah, look.
Are as follows.
Check this out, guys.
From driver 68. Hey, look at that.
That guy crashed into me. What were you watching? Are you blind?
There's six.
Did you hear his voice? He's so mad, right? He sounds like Douglas Lintz. That's Douglas Lintz as a driver. What were you watching? Here's Douglas Lintz, the race car driver.
Follows.
Right, here's Douglas Lintz.
Look at that.
What do you got to say?
That guy crashed into me. What were you watching? Are you blind?
That guy hurt my feelings. I want his channel taken down.
There seems to have been a huge crash.
That's fucking
That's
awesome.
why I can't wait to pay him back.
You heard what he said there? Let's hear that again.
That's why I can't wait to pay him back.
That would be so awesome to implement into the presentation.
I don't know whose voice they use, but that's funny as hell. It's great.
Especially when you make rivals in the field. Let's say that was Kyle Busch. That in the interviews telling people, you know, that guy crashed me. I'm going to get him back. He better watch out next time. You as the player, just hearing that in your mind while you're playing the game, you'll probably be thinking, well, you know what? I better be careful about how I race around this guy because he might get me back. You know, having that tension there, it adds to the experience. You know, you're getting a real feeling of you're living in the world and the decisions that you make as the character you created, right? Because you created your own character. Let's say they get in one of these precarious situations. They have to make decisions based on maybe the other drivers. Maybe you're racing them a little too rough, you race dirty, or if they even race you clean, they should say, well, that guy raced me cleanly, and I appreciate that. All we have now are these message feeds. If you guys remember NASCAR Heat 4, we had like a message feed, like it was like they had like it was almost like we were on Twitter, right? Like on a social media platform. It had the driver's name. It said like at Kyle Busch or at Kevin Harvick, and you would just click like if you wanted to provoke them or whatever, apologize to them. That's all we had. We never had like 3D modeled drivers like giving you their view of what happens out there on the racetrack based on the decisions that you made. Like if you crashed this guy on purpose or if you even touched him and he crashed, this is the type of presentation you should get. You know, it just adds to the presentation, and having the commentator there or the interviewer interviewing the guy and he's saying that to you, and you're watching this, that'll be up to your character, what you decide to do. Do you race him differently next time, or do you continue to race him hard? This stuff is really important to have. Let's hear it once more.
Douglas Lintz, how do you feel?
That guy crashed into me. What were you watching? Are you blind?
There seems to have been a huge crash.
That's Douglas.
That's why I can't wait to pay
I'm
him
gonna
back.
get you taken down.
This is so disappointing. You're having such
I'm gonna have your channel taken down.
My spouse! Dad!
We all hope you do sell him the next race.
Oh well, I'll do better next time.
Come, I return to my place.
Oh well,
Let's hear about folks. I'm watching from driver
I fucking
22.
love it.
Hey, what's the matter? There seems to have been a huge crash.
Oh man! What have I done? What did I tell my mom?
This is so disappointing. You're having such
There's
an
Douglas Lynch, the race car driver.
It's all my fault.
Yeah, it is all your fault.
Oh well. Oh well.
That could even be you.
That's
Like,
Douglas.
if you get wrecked out of the race, they should give you, like, a couple, like, options of what your character could say or how he could respond to the interviewer. That would be awesome as well. Like, if you crashed out, pick from a few lines, and depending on how you respond to the interviewer, it could affect your reputation. That would be so cool to have.
All the things I've been
This
saying.
is great presentation, and it happens during the live cam, the replays of the race. Imagine having the ability to save all this stuff. That would be so cool to see.
It's all as follows. The white flag is out. This is the final lap. He did it. He got the checkered flag. What a great race. The audience was very lucky to have seen such a fantastic race. Please join us again for another race. Tom West, Mega Sports Channel.
How cool was that? You even had post-race commentary and the closing of the broadcast. Like, see, this is made up. The Sega Sports Channel, they made this up for the game.
Thank you.
And it works. They
Thank
didn't
you.
have to go after NBC. They didn't have to go after Fox, ESPN. They made up their own stuff, got their own commentators, and created a fictional broadcast. That, by the way, they did a fantastic job with throughout the race, which
For a 25-year, that was 25 years ago. 25 years ago, they did this for an arcade machine. Okay?
you were just watching just now. The commentary is consistent throughout. It keeps you informed of the action all throughout.
I gotta be honest. The presentation, the commentary, it's better, way better than the game itself. Like, the game is really arcadey, right? But it's worth playing just for that.
The racetrack, which is so important to see. This is stuff that really needs to be looked into by these game developers. I think this would be really cool to see ideas like that. This type of presentation in a modern
Let me know if you guys
NASCAR
are still
game.
getting
That
the
would
live
be
stream.
so cool to see.
Please.
And now, here is, if you want to go back and watch this video, here is the name of the video. Here's the person that created it right there. And here, if you actually look for this video, here are all the timestamps that I left of all the presentation moments. So you can check it out yourself as well. So there it is. That was Daytona USA 2's presentation. And now we're going to be talking about the next game. But before we do that, I'd like for you to pause the video right here. If you haven't paused and discussed stuff already during the live stream, you could definitely pause the video here and respond. Now,
There's not a lot for me to add, right? You did a great job. I can't ask for better than this.
NASCAR 21 Ignition, the simulation title, on the other
Oh,
hand,
God.
lacks many presentation features.
Prepare
Yes, there are
yourselves.
pre-race presentation scenes, which I am not going to show in this video because everyone has seen them. But there's very little to unpack with the race
Thank you,
replays.
JP.
Everything that's present in Daytona USA 2 is not present in NASCAR 21 replays. While the game does look better than the 1998 arcade title, there's just no excitement or immersion. It's lacking in those two departments. When going back and watching races or watching live online races, it's just bland and not very easy to engage with. Have a look for yourself, and there's no need to look at any timestamps because there's really no highlights here. Once again, I'll link the creators, the videos in the comment section, or not the comment, the description. Benny Canty, this is the guy that created this video, just showing off a replay of one of his races. He's not going to show you the pre-race presentation because everyone really already knows what that looks like. Just focus on the race and tell me which one was more engaging. between these two videos.
That's all you're gonna get from a replay on NASCAR Ignition. There's your. I thought the Unreal game engine was supposed to fix
No
everything.
real reason to spend any more time on that. There's nothing going on in the replays. It feels bland. There's no broadcast, no ticker of the positions, nothing. It is completely bland. Unlike Daytona USA 2, which is an arcade title, it had more presentation throughout the race. It let everyone know where people were. Let's just say they were using that style presentation for this. They should be saying, and the 63 car is in the lead, or the 63 car is making passes. He just made a pass for third place. You know, that stuff is awesome. That would add so much to this. And of course, other NASCAR games like Thunder 2004, they have more presentation. They talk about you as a driver, what you need to do. This driver needs to finish here in the points or finish here in one of the races. They don't even have that. It's just bland. There's nothing going on here. So I don't really need to spend that much more time on NASCAR 21. You guys saw it for yourself between Daytona USA 2 and NASCAR 21. NASCAR 21 was the lacking of the two. I'd say Daytona USA 2 won this battle by a long shot. And I didn't compare this game to Thunder 2004 because everyone compares these games to those. I wanted to choose a game that not a lot of people talk about. And you're going to hear this Daytona USA 2 a lot in this series because there's so many examples of things people talk about wanting. Right? That's my whole point with this. So, there you guys go. Episode 1, or Chapter 1, which was presentation. And here it is. So, who wins? Please respond in the chat. Any more ideas? Thank you for your participation if you chose to participate. And yeah, guys, that's going to be the end of this episode right here. So, what do you guys think of that one? Please respond in the comment sections down below. And if you're watching this during the Disco Inferno 70 stream, you know, give some ideas in the chat. You know, he has that chat open there. So thank you all for checking out this video here on Project 94. If you liked this video, definitely stay tuned for more. I'm working on my commentary, getting that back together so like that I can give you my ideas and do these kind of videos. The next chapter, we're going to be talking about not needing a NASCAR license. So that should be exciting. And stay tuned for that. So comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching this video. And also make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to Disco Inferno 70, which is my plan is to get this video in that live stream. So we'll have to see what we got. I had trouble sending an individual link, so I decided, hey, you know what? Let's do it in video form. So without further ado, that is the end. I don't need to take any more of your time. And thank you all for checking out this video. And always remember to make sure you know what you're doing when you're putting decals on your diecast.
Thank you. Hold on a second. All right, hold on. All right. 1 second for the slow clap. Congrats. Amazing job. I appreciate what you did. And it really just continues the conversation I've been having for how many years now. I've been telling people presentation is the biggest thing that's been missing from these games. That's why they always feel completely empty. They feel like not fleshed out. Great examples from a 25-year-old arcade game on the things that are so simple. You can add these things, right? I'm looking for mostly pre-race and post-race. How about in between? How about things back at the race shop? There's so many areas where you can infuse presentation into these games. So man, thank you. That was great. Go watch Project 94's channel. Give him a like, subscribe, help him out. He deserves it. Thank you for that. Amazing job. And again, I could not have done a better job. That was great. It was interesting. And I told you guys, there's so much you can do. And you don't have to be a slave to licensing. Like if a developer out there really wants to do something, they can do it based on fantasy. Again, I prefer the NASCAR license. I get it. I'm just saying, um, it's possible. And on the NFL side of things, there are developers already making fantasy options. So that if you are one of the people that is fed up with the Madden fucking franchise, at least now you're gonna have options, right? But if you're a slave to that mentality, like, well, if it doesn't have the NFL license and official teams and players, I don't want it, then that's on you. I'm just saying there are options. So I'm gonna read some comments and see what people say. Okay, JP Kelly says stream is steady now. Thank you. 1200 HP World of Outlaws on PS3 was good. Steven Snyder doing fine. Thank you. What if racing? He did say he had full faith. Oh, wait a minute. I went way back. I got to go forward. I don't want. I can't go that far back. Volt says movie time. I didn't make popcorn. Okay, so this is from the beginning of the live stream. Project 94 says, thanks for the opportunity. This means the world to me. No problem. Listen, man, I just like seeing people in the community actively uh, pushing the message forward. Because what I really want ultimately is for developers to realize what's important. Okay? And it's an uphill battle. When you got lemmings in the community telling developers it's okay to add microtransactions. We're going to hand you our money blindly anyway. That's not a good thing. We need people to push back and say, hey, where's the presentation? Um, we expect more. If you want our money, give us a better product. Mark Forget says, 1200 HP, we're seeing corporate greed like never before in the gaming. Yeah. JP says, stream ending again. Uh, Oh man, I hope you guys didn't get cut off from the video. That would suck. Let me know if you got most of it. Uh, Volt says love the how it's made show music. Yeah, like I said, it did have that feel of like when you got to take a class. And I say that in a positive way. It's really cool. Um, yeah, I could not have done better myself. That was really good. Austin says pretty cool. I agree. That would be the Master System, I believe. I don't know what. Oh, Project 94. Yes, Sega Model 3 engine. Yeah, it's like a fucking circuit board. I remember seeing that somewhere. Um, yeah. Um, again, look what they did with fucking Cro-Magnon fucking Neanderthal technology from 25 years ago. And why? It's the fucking developer. It's the fucking people behind it and their ideas and the things they want to implement. It's vision, right? I've been saying this for many years. There's a lack of vision that you don't see. Things that you see in other sports games you haven't seen in NASCAR games. It's a lack of vision. Volt says, but we can't even have rear view mirrors now. Yeah, it's fucking. You couldn't have mirrors. Uh, you can't blame the Unity engine, right? This is the best engine made. Why were there no mirrors? Project 94, watching since 2020 Larson incident. Yeah, so okay, you've been around it long enough. But man, you get it. You get it, and good for you, man. Andrew Rye, you're kind of lagging. Man, it sucks. I hate when this happens, but when I'm at work, I usually have issues. When I live stream from home, I have really good internet at home. Project knows what he's talking about. Yes, he does. Volt says he's in the Fallout bunker. LOL. I don't know who you're talking about. Are you talking about our buddy Douglas Lentz, who's actively working to get me off of the YouTube platform? Volt, or the dipshit reading the cue cards clearly shown in the reflection on his sunglasses. Yeah, that was embarrassing when you could see Suarez, and on the sunglasses you could see the cue cards, and they actually put that in the game. It just shows you, was that the fault of the Unity engine? JP says stream is okay. Yeah, so I guess it got, right now it looks okay, but Andrew Ryan, I'm taking a break from iRacing. Gonna play World of Outlaws and its new update. I know it's gonna be awesome. Volt says, I'm not against this for players that like the whole race replay. It's just not something I'm into. I just want presentation before an actual race. And that's great. But the good thing is the race replays after the race is always going to be optional. That is never something that's going to be mandatory, so it's fine. But pre-race and post-race, and I want some presentation also, like in between, like at the race shop, what's going on, or like I said, all of these things should be skippable, right? I don't want shit where you have to go through it. Like, you can skip things if you want to, but there's so much room for presentation. Also, the caution replay as they happen, so you know why the caution came out. Yeah, we used to have caution replays in these games, and somehow that went away for no reason. Andrew says, gonna let the season run its course and get my B class license. Not taking any chance. Hope to see you in Xfinity Disco. Yeah, man. Hope to see you there, and don't take it too serious, man. Like, just have fun with it. Okay, let's see. Uh, Project 94. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. No problem. You deserve it. This is to me more than just coming out party for me. This is adding to the conversation. Absolutely. These are the things I've been talking about this for years. People need to understand. This is one of the reasons, right? Um, these games are always so empty and lifeless. Every other sports game has way more presentation. It's like with these NASCAR games, they don't even try, man. Volt says, thanks for doing it, Project. Yeah, man, thank you. Uh, this is great. I want to see more people get involved. Excellent presentation, subbed. Very good, JP Kelly. The song was a deleted track from Daytona USA 2, which was sadly not ported onto the consoles. I listen to him every night. That's how I memorize the points he makes. Hey, listen, man. I'm glad that you're learning something from me. Uh, but you sound like a smart kid. I shouldn't say kid, man. You're a young man about to get out of high school, but you're very smart. You're a lot smarter than some full-grown adults that I see on social media. Let's see. Diehard says, you missing NG yet? What's NG? Legacy needs to go bankrupt. Oh, you're talking about Noah Gregson? No, I'm not losing any sleep over it. Um, I hate. Look, man. I know that's something that has a lot of people upset, but I gotta tell people, NASCAR has been for a long time. It's a sponsor corporate sport. It's been driven by sponsor dollars, and I don't like seeing somebody. I'm a free speech guy. I'm not in favor of what they did with Noah Gregson, but I also understand the reality of sponsorship in the sport. You just can't do what you look. Even in my job, I can get in trouble for a lot of things. We have to take a class twice a year just telling you common sense things that you can and can't do, things you can and can't say, uh, how you have to be around other people. I can lose my job for a lot of reasons, thing. It's a part of the world we live in, you know. Andrew says, when I saw the cup race play out the way it did, I thought of you and Disco. I thought Disco was enjoying it. Yes, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I like watching these long green flag runs. I like watching attrition. These guys, listen, think of how hard it is. Without no cautions at all, they drove the entire race. People earned every position they finished in. And to me, that's more impressive. Imagine we had a bunch of restarts where people wrecking each other, and then all of a sudden, guys running mid pack or in the back end up with a top 10. Is that really good for the sport? I don't think so. And NASCAR needs to get rid of stage cautions everywhere. Die Hard. Oh, wait a minute. Steven Snyder says Arca at Dover is incredible. Are you talking about on iRacing or are you talking about in real life? Um, yeah, Arca. The Arca series is really good on iRacing because um, there are no cautions. It sucks if you get caught in a wreck, but if you can avoid a wreck, you're gonna have nothing but green flag racing. And I do suggest it to people that are new to iRacing. If you're just sick of doing a lot of pace laps, um, Arca's pretty good because if you can avoid wrecks, you're gonna have long green flag runs. I do enjoy Arca a lot. Diehard. Did you know that? Did you know A7X had to censor their song for NASCAR Thunder 2004? No, I don't know about that. I heard he's already working on getting reinstated, and he's probably getting the 10 or 31. Oh, if you're thinking of Noah Gragson, yeah. Listen, if I was him, if I was Noah Gragson, I would just keep my mouth shut and take whatever is available. And I'm telling you now, if he gets one of those cars, he should just thank his lucky stars and move forward. Keep your mouth shut. Don't complain. Don't say anything stupid and mature a little bit. That's my advice. Uh, Die Hard says, just sucks. I've been a fan since 2020. First 670 was a junior fan, and no one other than Noah comes close. Yeah, I get it. I know you're a Noah Gragson fan. I hope you get what you want, and he gets another ride. Um, yeah. Let's see. Steven Snyder, iRacing. Oh, okay, Dover. Yeah, like I said, I have a lot of fun on Arca. Like it's a relief because there are no cautions there. They don't throw cautions. Like if you wreck, you're wrecked. You might as well leave. But if you can avoid a wreck, you're gonna have long green flag runs. So I got to do more Arca races. Diehard says Avenged Sevenfold. I don't know what that means. I don't know what Avenged Sevenfold is. Volt says, or just get NR 2003. It's free. Basically a scaled down iRacing. Plus you can customize it a lot. Yeah, that's an option. Uh, I heard though, if that you do got to know a little bit about modding and shit to get the most out of it. That is really not my lane. Um, I'm not really the most knowledgeable when it comes to PC gaming. So yeah, Diehard says NR 2003 is the king. Andrew Rye, Noah did the right thing, asking to be let go out of his contract with Legacy Motor Club. Shows he is taking accountability for his actions. I hope so. I mean, if time will tell, right? I'm not ready to throw a parade, but if he matures a little bit, I'll give him credit. Avenged Sevenfold is a band. Oh, I guess if you're talking about a band for the Thunder game that they were talking about, okay. Yeah, Die Hard. I've been playing that or Black Ops 2 every night lately. I guess NR 2003. It's not hard. Yeah, I don't listen. I don't have a lot of time for myself because of my work schedule. I'm either playing Max Payne 3. Um, I still get on Red Dead Redemption 2 every once in a while, and iRacing. I just don't have time for anything else at the moment. Um, so yeah. So yeah, I'll give it a couple more minutes before I end the live stream. Once again, want to thank um, Project 94 for his work. Great job with the slideshow. And I look forward to whatever else you do. And we're going to continue these conversations. More people need to get involved, and more people need to understand. It's one thing to say that these games have sucked, but if you don't fully understand why they suck, where are we? We have to know why these games haven't worked so that we know what message to push to these developers, right? I was screaming about stats for years, but because this is a small channel, you know, this is why I need bigger platforms to take that baton and run with it. Because imagine if a guy like Captain Sleeveless was screaming about the lack of stats years ago. I think we would have gotten stats sooner, right? That's why it's important. The lack of presentation. That's a problem. We're not talking about one or two games here. We're talking about fucking games going back almost 15 years of NASCAR games, and there's a lack of the most basic presentation. And as you saw today, a 25-year-old arcade game on archaic technology was able to implement simple yet effective presentation. There's no excuse, guys. There's no excuse. It's not the technology, it's not the game engine, it's the developer. The lack of oversight, the lack of vision. How do you release a sports game every fucking year and not have stats in the game and think this is okay? And that's what I've been trying to do for years. Wake people up. That's it. Diehard says no, he left Legacy because he found out John Hunter Nemechek was taking his ride. Whatever reason, you know, if I was him, I would take anything available in Cup. I don't think it's, going down to a lower series that you already had success in. I just don't see that helping. Um, I think it's better to stay in Cup and at least be in the series where people don't forget about you. Andrew Rice says, I hope September 30th is the day NASCAR gaming world changes for the better. Yeah, that's the big date. So hopefully we find out what's going on. Bobby87. Oh, you're still in the live stream. Good. Another thing is we need the level of options and settings like F1. For example, something like being able to adjust settings, different camera views. Yeah, options. I mean, shit. We're talking about the most basic features. We need all of that. Diehard says Legacy's a joke. He saved his career leaving. TTR Tiger, good job, Project 94. Yeah, man. Do me a favor, go there, give him a like, subscribe, whatever. Um, yeah, he sounds like somebody whose head is screwed on correctly, and I like seeing that. And anybody that can help push these messages forward, that's what I want. Volt says, I found the developers within the last 12 or so years are very out of touch, don't understand what makes a game fun and immersive. So they always focus on the wrong things and it results in a garbage product. Thank you. my point exactly. While people like Captain Sleeveless have been complaining about physics, right? Physics are important, but it's not the most important thing when the AI, if the AI is not fun to race against, who cares about the physics? I've been hearing about how good the physics in NASCAR Ignition are since the game came out. Honestly, my experience, limited experience with Ignition, I don't see what's so great about the physics. I think people are overrating the physics, but I'm not arguing with people. If you want to tell me those physics were good, it's not worth arguing for me. But for me, every track felt tight. So there was a you I mean you couldn't adjust the 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 settings, right? The setups. Every track felt tight. So it's hard to know how good those physics really were. I keep hearing how good the physics were. I think people are overdoing it, but I'm not going to argue. If you want to tell me the physics are good, whatever. But what difference did that make in the game? The game is the worst NASCAR game ever made. The AI is atrocious. And I told you guys even before the game came out, if the AI is not good, the game's not going to be good. So even if you fix every bug and glitch, which they didn't, but let's say they fixed all the bugs and glitches, and you have these physics that you say are so great, what does it matter when the AI is so terrible? That game is a you have to pay people to play the game. Like literally just nobody's playing the game. It's a chore to play. So NASCAR Ignition proved almost all of my points. The people saying that the Unity engine is the reason the game sucked. Well, you used the best game engine in the market, which I agree, the Unreal Engine is the best engine. But do you need a sophisticated game engine to make a NASCAR game? No. Now, if you're talking about making an open world game like Grand Theft Auto or a game like that, then yes, then I would say, yeah, go with the Unreal Engine. But for a NASCAR game, um, so that argument's out the window. The I'm, it just proves my point. Let me read some more comments. Andrew Rice says you were right earlier about me taking iRacing serious, which is why I need to step back. Still proud to have 10 wins, no matter what went beyond. I expect. Listen, man, you got 10 fucking wins in no time. I got 4 wins in fucking. How long have I been on iRacing? So I'm garbage. I don't. You're pretty damn good to get 10 wins. Um, and yeah, don't get sucked in. The more serious you take iRacing, the less you're gonna enjoy it. I'm just telling you, and it's a struggle that I have myself, admittedly, right? I'm constantly struggling. And I keep telling myself mentally before each race, just go and have fun. And I try to do it, but when you race real people online, you're gonna find a lot of boneheads and they're gonna ruin it for you. But try to enjoy it. Don't take it serious. And I hope to run into you, at some point. Not run into you literally, but like on a race. Bobby87, how come we didn't have the technology and such? No, but how come when we didn't have the technology and such, like for a Daytona USA game, we got effort and good details, but now that we do, we get the lack? I'll explain to you why. Good question, Bobby. As I've said many times before, the reason games are worse today, there are several reasons, right? It's not just one. One, the advent of the internet and online that has made developers shift more of their focus to online, which gives them more opportunities to push microtransactions, right? They don't care as much about offline. And this isn't just NASCAR. Like all video games have suffered because of the advent of online, right? So that's one. Um, Two, the acceptance of microtransactions because they've gotten the consumer base to just kind of roll with it. They're just, this is my point. You give them an inch, they'll take a foot. You give them a foot, they'll take a yard. It's never going to be enough, which is why you have to push back even on the smallest microtransactions. Because if you say, I don't care, it's just this, it's just that, the next time they're going to do more. They're going to do more. And they're taking away more and more from the game to sell, repackage it, and sell it to you in the form of microtransactions. So it makes the game worse overall. Also, developers are pushing these games out a lot more faster, right? Most of the time, especially sports games, they're yearly titles. There's only so much you can do in a year. So each game you get is just a baby step. If you're lucky, the game doesn't get worse. Um, so yeah, these developers are lazier because the community accepts it. You got a bunch of you know, Doug Lintzes out there defending them, telling other consumers that microtransactions are okay because they need the money. All right. Let's see. What if still in the live stream? Good to see. Ignition physics are better than Heat 4 and 5, but it's at service of nothing because everything else around it is bad. Game falls apart and can't do a normal race. And exactly what I've been saying. It, the physics are not going to matter when the AI is absolute garbage. So even though, like, okay, if the physics are better, what's more fun to play? NASCAR Heat 4 or Ignition? And I'm not talking about the bugs and glitches. Forget about that. I don't even talk about that. That's another argument. But let's just say I'm just saying a game without bugs and glitches. You race a full race in NASCAR Ignition and you race a full race in NASCAR Heat 4. Which is more fun? Which is more enjoyable? Obviously NASCAR Heat 4. Why is that? If the physics are not as good, because the AI is good, which is the point I've been making. And I'm not saying physics are not important. So I don't want anybody to misinterpret that. Physics are important. But all of these other things I talk about are just as, if not more important. So there you go. Worse physics, but much better AI. And which is more fun to play. And I have literally fought myself not to go back to NASCAR Heat 4 or 5 because it goes like I don't want to support these people and put money in their pocket. But there are times where I say to myself, I would love to play NASCAR Heat 4 again just because the racing is more enjoyable. But I don't do it. Bobby87, but honestly, your Technics had small details that no other game had. Look, the physics of Eutechnics, okay. I I I just can't see anything else I could praise that game for. The physics were pretty good. Outside of that, it was bad. All right, hold on. Let me not lose my spot. Okay, hold on. Volt says, Bobby 80. Oh, he's speaking of Bobby 80s. No, wait a minute. Well, Die Hard, yeah. NASCAR 15 had good physics. Yeah, that's just what I said now. It did have good physics. Volts, speaking of Bobby, says, that's a difficult question. Back then, you had to flesh out the game and make it fun and immersive because you don't get a second chance. Oh, talking about why the games were better back then. Yes, you don't get a second chance. which I've mentioned many times on my channel. Because these guys can patch games after they come out, it makes them even more lazy. You had to pass quality control in the old days because once the game went out the door, you couldn't fix it. So they had to get it right. And now that they have all this leeway, people accept a game that's broken on release. That's like normal business practice now because of lemmings in the gaming community. This is why I tell people don't get these games on release. Can you wait 2 or 3 days? That's it. That's all I'm asking. You wait a couple days and watch what other people in the community, the YouTubers, whoever it is, let them test these games and tell you what they think. And then you could see with your own eyes and then say, okay, I'll give it a shot. Plus, it sends a message to the developer, hey, why aren't people running out and pre ordering and just giving us their money on release day? Oh, they're actually waiting a couple days before they jump in the water to test the water. They're dipping their toe, they're making sure everything is worth their money. We better do a better job when we release the game. They're not going for this anymore, where we release a broken, unfinished game. And then they have to sit and wait for patches. God knows how long it takes. This has been going on since the Eutechnics era. Remember back then when they released the games and everybody's waiting for the patch? Then the patch came out, then you played the game, then the patch was like, it didn't really change anything. This has been going on for some time. So yeah, Volts, you nailed it. I've been saying this for years. Die Hard, be more aggressive. Oh, I don't know who you're talking to. Andrew Wright, you're right. I guess talking about iRacing. Um, what if says Eutechnics was good with how it drove, but everything else sucked. No stats too, which is a crime for a sports. Thank you. Yes, the physics were good. It drove well. So what? So what? The AI was atrocious. They even had rubber banding back then. Like, thank God that didn't last long, but that was terrible. Bobby said, yeah, that's what I think about it. Everything was offline then. Yeah, man. Remember fucking games like Tomb Raider, Siphon Filter? These games I remember, they felt deep and immersive. And there was like, every time you finished a level, you thought you were near the end of the game, there was another level. You got so much more for your money back then. It's not like that anymore. These games, they're not as good. It's just, it's crazy. And the technology's better. But back then, they made up for the lack of technology by just trying harder and having more imagination. TR Tiger says World of Outlaws has arcade physics and it makes it more fun. Yeah, like look, not every game has to have fucking iRacing physics. Like it could I didn't honestly the NASCAR Heat the last two games, okay, the physics were on the arcade side, but they weren't terrible. Like you could still have fun with it. You could still drive the car. You could still make adjustments to it, and it made a difference. And because the AI was good, it was challenging. Um, yeah, if you jump from that to iRacing, yeah, it's like oh shit, that's really arcadey, but it's okay. It's a fucking console game. Um, So yeah, make the physics better, right? If the physics you could get the physics of the Eutechnics, right? Fucking Christ, you guys are forcing me to say something somewhat positive about Eutechnics, but I'll give in on the physics. But if you could have the physics of that and the AI of like uh either iRacing, which is really good right now, it's not perfect, it still needs work for a console game. I don't, and then get the presentation, things that we saw today. Um, that would be fucking awesome. What If says, remember how Captain Sleeveless was hyped to drive the car around the garage area? I should have parodied that. Yeah. And the thing is, look, I'll be the first to say I kind of like that, right? In the beginning when we first saw it, oh shit. But it wasn't part of the game. It was something that was broken. It wasn't like meant to be part of the game. It was a glitch. So, yeah, it's cool and all that, but if it was a glitch. So, yeah, I remember that. He really fucking played that shit till it was played out. But, he did his best to shill for those guys. Volt says, I lit his ass up on that video mocking him. The whole thing was ridiculous. Yep. Excuse me. Andrew Rye, by the way, World of Outlaws really makes you wheel it a lot. It's more tough when than racing in NASCAR Heat 4. Credit to dirt racers who do it every week. I don't know. I mean, I haven't played it. I don't care about World of Outlaws or dirt. But from what I hear from most people, not everybody, but most people seem to really enjoy it. I don't know what else to say. Die Hard says five wide everywhere was fun. I guess you're talking about World of Outlaws. Volts, NASCAR 15. Don't forget Paint Booth. LOL. Oh, Paint Booth? Yeah, man. I didn't. Thank you. I do have to say that. I always gave them credit for the Paint Booth. And I forgot about it. So physics and Paint Booth. Okay. Um, yeah. I will say though, the one negative about the Paint Booth, it was not user friendly. You really did have to learn a lot of things. But if you like doing paint schemes like I did, I spent almost all my time doing paint schemes. Um, Diehard says, yeah, getting Call of Duty Ghosts on day one was a mistake. All I'm saying, guys, just wait, just a couple days. Don't you have to send a message to these developers. You got to do it. That's the only way we're gonna get these developers back on track. As long as they get your money on day one, why ever pre-order a game? I don't understand why people do it. It's totally not necessary. Nobody stands on a fucking 2 hour line anymore. These games are downloaded for the most part digitally. All right. What If says, I also think a lot of people just either don't remember or didn't live in that time period when those games came out. Eutechnics and up to Heat 3 were utterly trash and lacking tons of stuff. Yeah, a lot of people look back and with fondness, and it's like, man, the reason I started doing videos was because of Eutechnics and how terrible those games were. John Public, welcome. Yo, Disco, hope you're doing well. Thank you. I hope the same to you as well. I still play Heat 4 on my PS4. It's not perfect, but it's playable. I do career as an owner. Pain in the ass starting out, but slowly building up cars is fun. Yeah. And I think starting out, you getting your ass kicked. I actually enjoyed that more than once you build up all the way. I did find it kind of getting too easy. Um, once you had your everything, at the top. But just fighting for top 20s for a contract, as bare bones as the game was, it was enjoyable. Like I actually said, NASCAR Heat 4 is the best game we've had since the Thunder series, which was covering many years. Um, so yeah. Uh, Andrew says, Disco, I know there are days you question why you do these videos, but remember, there are people like me, respect your thoughts, and you've been right about so much. Don't give up. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I never got to the point where I said I'm not fucking doing this anymore. But there are times where it's frustrating. But I haven't stopped. I think I've been consistent through the years. I keep, but it does feel like you're swimming against the tide sometimes. So if I go away, it's not because of me. It'll be because of lemmings like Douglas Lintz, who is actively trying to cry to YouTube to get me thrown off the platform. I still don't know why, but that if that ever happens, you know why. It's because of him or people like him. Well, he's actually the only one who's ever actively said, "I've reported you and I hope you get taken down." But there it is. But I appreciate your thoughts, which you say in the next comment. People like Douglas want you to shut up. That's not going to happen. But who knows, man? We live in a time where people, lemmings like that, uh, pretty much ruin it for other people. Die Hard NASCAR 15 Physics, Thunder Presentation, and NR 2003 AI. Yeah, um, Thunder had good presentation, but there are things you can add to it. And like you saw today, um, from a fucking arcade game, interviews, things like that. I want to see stuff like that. Pre-race, post-race. Um, Die Hard, perfect game for the masses. Yep. Volts make that happen. Plus the R&D with 2004. Yeah, man, that was another thing that made that game so great. The R&D went really deep, and I missed that. I spent so many years. I hate having to talk about a game from 15 fucking years ago. And no, wait a minute, almost 20 years now. It sucks, man. John Public, did you already talk about the Indy road course? Yeah, I did early. So if you want to watch the replay, I did talk about it. I did enjoy it. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I was shocked that the race was good, but I explained why. What it was, one caution right at the beginning of the race, and that was it. It went green the whole way. No stage cautions, and it was old school racing, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I thought it was really good. But I still hate the track. They could blow that track up for all I care. Let's see. I personally enjoyed them for once. Yeah, I agree. Still wish they just go back to the Brickyard Oval. That's where I'm at. This isn't the fucking Brickyard. Like, go back to the fucking Oval. Now, if they go back and for some reason this car doesn't do well there or put on a decent enough race, then fine, go somewhere else. But at least try. Viper 199 says, "Hey Disco, got here late. The race was average to me, 5 out of 10. Was mainly boring until Chase started catching McDowell. I don't have a problem with that. Like if people thought it was average, I'm I agree. Like I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. My rating is a little different. Like a 5 out of 10 is pretty bad. But that's my scale. Like I know I understand why a 5 out of 10, that's like right in the middle. That is average. Like my rating is actually maybe doesn't make sense. So I maybe should rethink it, but I've been doing it this way. But I like for me, average would be 6.5 out of 10. So then a 7 is kind of good, and then it just moves up from there. So a 7 out of 10 is what I gave it, which is good. Wasn't great, but it was good. And it was good because of that old school long green flag runs and all that. But I don't enjoy road courses, and I don't like this layout of this road course. Um, I just don't like it. But it did surprise me. It was a surprisingly good race, in my opinion. Diehard says NASCAR 97 had announcers during the races. It was kind of cool. And like TV like ticker on NASCAR '09 PS2. Yeah, NASCAR 97, that was before my time. I didn't play that, so I don't know what, that's news to me. Like, I don't know, but that's great. Again, they were able to do things in the old days with inferior technology that they haven't been doing now. And instead of people putting two and two together and saying, clearly developers just aren't trying, their mind is set on something else. Instead of looking at that, they're blaming game engine, they're blaming other things, which makes no sense. And you just saw the worst NASCAR game of all time, and it was made with the best game engine of all time. And they still say they still use the same arguments even after just witnessing with motorsport games proved everything I said to be correct. It's make it make sense. Viper says, I like the no stage cautions and pit strategy. Surprise winner, two elevated the race. Again, great. No cautions is a good thing. Um, they need to take the no cautions stage caution to all the tracks, not just road courses. Enough with the fucking cautions. Okay, hold on. John Public, someone trying to get you canceled. So effing lame. What a loser. Thank you. Andrew Wright, I hear there will be a good year tire test on the Indy Oval this week. Sounds good. I think they're planning to go back. I don't know if they're gonna do it long term, but they gotta try it. That's the real Brickyard. You know, I know that the crowds haven't been great, but the crowd wasn't good for the fucking road course either. So there's that. What if says, in terms of having the ideal NASCAR game, it's all there. Take Thunder Ford's presentation, career mode, and stats page, Heat 5's AI, and the physics of your techniques. There you go. And don't forget to add my ideas, um, with some of that pre-race, post-race commentary, and remember the interactive crew chief that I've talked about many times through the years, where during practice you can run some laps, drive it back to the garage, and talk to your crew chief, and whether it's on a laptop, show the track map, and then you could say, okay, entrance of turn one, um, too loose, exit of turn three, too tight, and you click that, and then the crew chief automatically responds to that and says, okay, we're gonna give you around the wedge, and we're gonna take a half pound of air out of here, whatever it is. Just like Project Cars 2, if you've ever played that, there is an interactive crew. Well, they call it engineer, the engineer in the game, but it could be your crew chief, and help you with those adjustments, where you can actually come up with your own custom car setup for before each race. That would make the game so much more immersive and make you want to spend time in things like back at the race shop and practice, right? I've talked about that. Throw that in the game. The ideas are there if these developers ever listen to the community, to the right people, not to people like Doug Lintz, who will tell them, give us all the fucking microtransactions you want. I'll buy the game. Michael Jenkins, welcome. I always liked Thunder 04, I think more than Dirt to Daytona, just because the R&D was more deeper, how the shot background would change. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of good things from both games. 1200 HP next gen. All the Heat games were utter trash and had terrible physics and graphics, no immersion at all. Frame rate was horrible. Setups were backwards on a lot of settings. Steering was bad. Yeah, look, I'm not here to tell you the Heat series was great. I had plenty of. Listen, I've criticized them as much as anyone. But the actual gameplay for Heat 4 and 5, um, it was as good as it got for consoles. Um, there's always room for improvement. Austin, yeah, disco. It was embarrassing to see the stands bone dry empty. Yeah. Um, if you're gonna fucking pump up everybody about the Brickyard, go back to the Oval. And like I said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. At least you could show you tried it. Um, and then if you're gonna go somewhere else, go somewhere else. But enough with this fucking road course. I don't like the layout. It's just not good. 1200 HP. The Thunder games had the best AI. It's not even close. Um, the AI was good. Uh, Look, man, that game is almost 20 years old. I can't really remember really how good it was. So maybe there's a case there. All right, I'm not going to argue that. But in recent memory, I'm old. Uh, from my memory, console games, I enjoyed NASCAR Heat 4's on track racing the most. From my memory. Um, I'm not talking about anything else, but just the actual racing. I enjoyed it. It wasn't great. Volts says to 1200 HP. That's why I go to NR 2003 for a fix. Only downside is you have to get a setup and tweak it how you like it, unless you want to spend hours building a setup. Yeah, NR 2003. That's the goat. But I never played it. Uh, yeah, it's pretty much what iRacing was built on. Let's see. NR 2003 is awesome. Building setups is fun. Steven Snyder, no racing tonight. Um, I don't know. Are you asking me about iRacing? I'm at work, in case you haven't noticed. Um, so I'll definitely do some racing. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a race. Maybe I can't promise anything. Sometime this week I'll do a race or two. I'll live stream it. Andrew Wright, I know what you said about World of Outlaws, but man, it has everything in career mode you've been wanting in a NASCAR game. Um, yeah, I get it, but I can't. I don't like dirt. I'm not a World of Outlaws guy, and it's like same thing with F1. F1 has everything I've ever wanted in a NASCAR game: presentation, the graphics, the fucking presentation, like everything. The race shop is super detailed. The career mode is detailed. Um, but I don't like open wheel. I don't like road courses. And like, why would I play it, right? Just for the presentation? That doesn't make sense. Same thing with World of Outlaws. I know there's some good things to like about it, but I mean, I at the end of the day, I gotta enjoy the racing. I gotta be into it, and I'm a NASCAR guy, so unfortunately. Uh, Volts. Last F1 game I had was 2018, and I'm pretty sure they had the interactive crew chief during your practice. Really? I didn't know that. That's good to know. But like I said, there's no reason you can't do this on a NASCAR game. The technology is there. Um, Imagine just having a crew chief that you can talk to. And when I say talk to, I don't mean through your mic, but like have options. You can complain about the car. It's too loose, too tight on entry, on exit. And the crew chief can talk to you and tell you what he's doing to the car. It's just, man, just imagine how immersive that is. Um, Bobby 87. Something I think people don't mention or even realize is that the camera views and how they act are important to the handling and feeling of the game. Uh, like I love your Technics chase cam. Yeah, look, the field of view and all that. Yeah, that definitely. The more options you have, the better. If iRacing ends up getting the license, right? I think I'm hoping a lot of the options that we see in games, I mean, on the iRacing service, things where field of view, that kind of stuff. I really hope they transfer that like to the game side of things, to the video game side. Like That would be great. I really want to play these games. And remember, I run triple screen. That's a problem with a game like if I want to play one of these other games that are there's no triple screen support. So it is stretched the screen. It won't look right. It's like there's a lot of things that make a difference. Bobby, and he also says, I hate a really close chase cam, like the Heat games. They were more of a stiff camera view, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I get it. It's a good point. What if racing? Let's just all agree Heat Evolution at least has a mirror, unlike. Yeah, listen, man. These guys managed to make a worse game than Heat Evolution. Heat Evolution at least was a functional game. Like you can play it with all its flaws. It worked. It worked. I don't know what else to say. Volts, 3 year olds don't use mirrors. Silly. Yeah, we got to make sure that 3 year olds can play these games. Don't forget that. Uh, what if laughing? 1200 HP Next Gen says if they don't make a new NASCAR game, I'm permanently going to play EA Sports NASCAR games. They were just so much better on career and everything else. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Um, those games are the Thunder series. I love those games, man. But they're almost 20 years old. Um, I don't know, man. Okay, guys, it's 10 o'clock. Oh my God, very long live stream. Um, Thank you guys for hanging out and being a part of the live stream. Okay. I want to thank everybody who joined Project 94. Thank you for your video. Thank you for doing this and actually just putting an exclamation point on some of the points that I've been making for years about presentation. And hopefully, as time goes on, we can get the word to whoever ends up making NASCAR games. And hopefully, we find out on this big date on September 30th um, who it is, and we'll take it from there. But I will do the best I can. I'll do my part to try to push the message forward. Hopefully, more people in the community join the fight. And also, we have to be aware and fight off the lemmings in the community. You know who I'm talking about. These people, they come in, they try to tell you that the microtransactions are okay. They defend bad business practices. They um, they're lemmings. They're lemmings. Um, we got to be aware of that. Call it out when you see it. And if and when my channel ever gets taken down, if it happens, um, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, you now know the full story. You know what's going on, and I hope to see you guys. So yeah, good night, guys. Hold on. Ignition had better physics and graphics than Heat 5, but lots of bugs and bad AI. Yeah, I know, but it's the worst game ever made. It's no fun playing because